Hello. We're just going to give you a quick snapshot of the books that we are planning to read over Christmas if we manage to get some time to do that. So we haven't actually read these books, obviously, so we can't say all that much about them. Perhaps we'll review them in a future book group. So we're just going to flag up what we're going to read, why we're kind of interested in reading them, and perhaps read you a little bit of the blurb from the back, just to give you an idea of what they may be about. Duncan's going to start because he's got more books than me, so...
Okay, so the first book I'm planning on reading is this book here. Cutting for Stone. Now, it's a book by the author Abraham Verghese, who was the novelist who wrote a book that we reviewed a little while ago called A Covenant of Water. And it's a book that I certainly loved, and talking to a lot of patients, they loved it too. And in fact, this is a book that he wrote preceding that one, and reading the blurb, absolutely fascinating. Similarly, again, as in the first one, he often uses medicine as a sort of metaphor for life. But by all accounts, it's a fantastic yarn. I think it took him a lot of time to write. And yeah, really looking forward to reading that.
I've read it. It's really good.
Yeah?
Good. Yeah, excellent. Okay, so my first book is by Claire Keegan. I haven't actually read Claire Keegan before. This keeps popping up on my Instagram feed. I follow a lot of Instagram book sites. So this keeps popping up. It's been voted Book of the Year by all sorts of newspapers, the Time Literary Supplement. It's a very short book. It's a novella, and it is set in Ireland, 1980s Ireland. It centres around a coal and timber merchant and the sort of run up to Christmas, his family, all that sort of stuff. So the blurb from the back says it's a haunting, hopeful masterpiece. It's truly great, quite radical. So I'm really looking forward to that. So it's a nice short book, so I should be able to fit that in somewhere. So that's my first one.
Well, this is my next one, very different, a book by Matt Chorley called Planes, Trains and Toilet Doors. Now, the premise here, 50 places that change British politics. And from what I can gather, it's talking about various incidents and various places through the country where important political decisions, events were influenced, though not necessarily sort of the hallowed halls of Westminster, and absolutely sort of fascinating throughout the last sort of 50 years of British politics. So yeah, really looking forward to that. Planes, Trains and Toilet Doors.
Yeah, that should be good. He writes in the Times, doesn't he, on it, does a political
Absolutely.
thing on
So
Saturday.
I'm really looking forward to reading that.
Good. Okay, my next one is called A Small Bomb at Dimperley, and it's by somebody called Lissa Evans. Again, haven't really heard much about her. This was actually recommended by the chap at One Tree Books, so I've written a little bit about it in the blurb at the top. It's set in post-war England, and it's a chap coming home from the war, sort of to a place called Dimperley, which is his family home, built in the 1500s, and it's a bit dilapidated. His elder brother has died, so it's all up to him now to keep it up and running. But it's been compared to, somebody's put here, Woodhouse meets Barbara Pym with the liberal sprinkling of evil in war. So I know, and it's supposed to be quite humorous. It says it's a glorious read. I laughed many times, rejoicing in the cleverness, humanity, pure joy. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think I'm going to read that one first. So yeah, A Small Bomb at Dimperley.
Great. The next one I'm hopefully going to be dipping in out of is a book by Ben Okri. Now, this is actually a collection of short stories, and it's called Stars of the New Curfew. Now, Ben Okri, fascinating author, very powerful, very emotional, and from what I can gather, these short stories, obviously mainly set in Africa, really talk about the way that the powerful subjugate the less powerful, and 'twas ever thus the story in Africa and lots of the world. So perhaps not the most necessarily uplifting read, but dipping into out of short stories, and I suppose that's the joy over the Christmas period. That's what you can do. So Stars of the New Curfew is my next one.
Okay. My third and last one is, talking of short stories, another very short story by somebody called Tessa Hadley, and this is called The Party. It's a coming-of-age story with two sisters set in Bristol. I think post-war again, I think. I've read lots of great things about this. Again, obviously haven't read it, but just a short story. can't really say much more about it, but perhaps I'll review it in a future book group and let you know what it's like.
Right, well, my last one is an interesting book, well, from my point of view. It's called A Person is a Prayer. And the reason I'm reading it is because it's the first novel by an author who is a great friend of my daughter's. And I've met him. The chap's name is Amar Kalia. He was born in Kenya. His father's Kenyan. And it's apparently very deeply moving story about growing up in Kenya, trials and tribulations, family strife, and I don't know a lot about it, but I know my daughter Lottie is a very, very sort of critical reader. And yeah, I'll be very interested to review this afterwards. So, Amar Kalia and A Person is a Prayer. So yeah,
Okay,
interesting book.
Yeah, that's it. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of time to actually read some of these books, and we'll catch up in the next book.
Yeah,
group.
and we'll get
Okay.
back to you on what we thought of them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.